All right, recording has started, guys. If you could, next to those laptops, hit that continue button for me. Sweet. Will you hit that one for me up there? Thank you, man. All right, good afternoon, 8th grade science class, both in person and online. Today, we're going to be going over plant cells, animal cells, and some inherited traits, starting on page 75 in our packet. All you need is a pencil and a highlighter. Good. Ladies, gentlemen, let's put those phones up. Thank you. As long as someone at your table, like person next to you, has a highlighter, usually you can share a highlighter because we don't use them as often, but you definitely need your own pencil.
Yeah, another one.
Pencil?
Highlighter.
Attention. All right, so go ahead and turn to page 75 in your packet. The title is Plant Cells. Now, in my experience, it always makes sense to cover plant cells first. Plant cells are a little more, have a few more things inside of them that you have to have memorized. Plant cells. So the biggest thing to tell a plant cell apart from an animal cell is its rectangular shape. So plant cells have a cell wall, and this cell wall gives them shape. And it's these cells that stack on top of each other that give a plant its support. A plant doesn't have bones like me and you. So we can keep ourselves up using bones and muscle, but plants don't have that. So plants use it at a cellular level. They have cell walls that make their cells extra strong so they can actually have support. So all those cell walls stacked on top of each other like Lego pieces create support for animal and plant, for plant life. So plant cells contain a cell wall and chloroplast. That's the two things that a plant cell has that an animal cell does not. So please make sure you highlight cell wall and chloroplast. Both animal and plant cells have vacuoles, but plants have a large vacuole. Why? Because plants need to store their own water inside of their cells. All right, plants don't have stomachs or muscle like we do, so they have to store their water inside of each individual cell. So every plant cell has a large vacuole to store water in. And you guys know examples of plant cells. We don't need to go through those. But we do need to go through, let me fix this up, the organelles, All right, so can anybody remember any cell organelle just off the top of their head? Remember, organelle is just the organs of a cell, right? The little parts inside of a cell. So what about the brain of a cell? Can anybody tell me the brain of a cell? The nucleus, good. Nucleus, it stores the genetic DNA, perfect. Nucleus, right? Good, that's one of the parts. What's the other part? Mitochondria, the powerhouses of the cell. Good, mitochondria create energy for the cell. Good, mitochondria. We got the vacuole, right? Stores water. What about the cell wall? We got the cell membrane. Membrane is what lets things pass in and out of a cell. It's like a flimsy wall, right? It's just a membrane that covers the cell. We got things like Golgi bodies, right? Chloroplasts. All right, we have things. Good. Yeah. All right, but let's go through some of them, okay? First, what controls what comes in and out of the cell? The cell membrane. The cell membrane controls what goes in and out of a cell. That rigid layer that gives us support is our cell wall. The cell wall. And then just like you were saying, the thinking, all the important stuff, the DNA, the brain is the nucleus. It controls the cell. The nucleus. That gooey gel-like substance, it kind of keeps everything in place, so it's not all rattling around inside the cell. That's called cytoplasm. Cytoplasm. And like they were saying over there, the mitochondria, which creates energy. And we'll spell these again in just a second if you're having problems seeing it. But mitochondria. Mitochondria. Yeah, it's a hard one. Is that one easier? Mitochondria. Mitochondria. Mitochandria. Probably not going to need to know how to spell it for the STARS test, so as long as you can pronounce it, mitochondria, you'll know those are the powerhouses of the cell. Then we have our chloroplast, which contains chlorophyll and makes food from sunlight. We have our storage for the cell, the vacuole. It's used to store water and other things. We have our Golgi bodies, which I haven't seen show up too much on a STARS test, but it's important to know for your next year. This packages and distributes materials throughout the cell. And that's an actual C. The endoplasmic reticulum. You can write ER. Oh, wait, as soon as he gets back, I guess my other right now. The ER, endoplasmic reticulum. And this is just like the streets, the highway. It's passageways in the cell that help carry materials from one part to the other. So we got cell membrane, cell wall, the nucleus, cytoplasm, mitochondria, chloroplast, vacuole, Golgi bodies, endoplasmic reticulum. That word makes you sound real smart. Endoplasmic reticulum. So these are organelles and their function. But the STARS test wants you to be able to place them inside of a cell to tell which is which. So that's what we're going to do on our second part down here. First, we have this large container here. This is our vacuole. You'll notice it's large inside of a plant cell. This is our vacuole. Then we have our cell membrane, which is not the cell wall, but it's what's behind the cell wall. All this stuff in between everything is our cytoplasm. All this, our cell wall, is on the outside. I always like to think of our mitochondria as these like being little wires, almost like a little battery almost. But those are our mitochondria, one's little wires inside. The nucleus is a big circular thing, usually with a dot in the middle, your nucleus. Your ER, endoplasmic reticulum, is always right next to your nucleus because it's carrying information from your nucleus throughout the cell. Your chloroplast usually has these dots in there, but on a colored emblem, your chloroplast would always be green. That's why all plants are green, because chloroplast itself has a green tint to it. Chlorophyll, chloroplast. And then the Golgi body is the only thing we have left. It's just these bodies sitting right next to each other. These are those streets, those roads that carry stuff around. The last one, the endoplasmic reticulum, the ER. And you can write ER for endoplasmic reticulum. ER. These are all the parts of a plant cell. Good. Does anybody have any questions over plant cells? I want you to highlight what a plant cell has that an animal doesn't. Chloroplast. The word large, because everybody has vacuoles, but plants have large vacuoles. And the cell wall. You're not going to find chloroplast or cell wall in a plant cell.
You mean an animal cell?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, animal cell. Thank you. You won't find either of those in an animal cell, only in plant cells. Got it? Get it, got it good. Keep in mind, these videos are always posted to you, so if you need to go back and double check, we can. At the end of class, if you need me to go back, I will, but let's continue on the video. We're going to page 76, 76. All right, animal cells. Animal cells usually have a circular or irregular shape. Why? Because they don't have a cell wall. No wall. They have everything except for a cell wall. They contain everything but a cell wall and chloroplast. Cell wall and chloroplast. And then any example, guys, animals, worms, amphibians, all these are examples of animal cells.
What's the last one?
Which one?
Animals and all that.
Oh, amphibians, but you can use any word. It doesn't matter. These are just examples. You don't have to write amphibians, guys. You can write fish, you can write birds, anything. Anything that has an animal cell. So we already went through the parts of a cell, and the parts stay the same. The cell membrane is going to do the same thing it did in the plant cell. The mitochondria is going to do the same thing. The only thing that's a little different is the vacuoles aren't going to be as large, but you're still going to have vacuoles. But everything else stays the same. So as long as you know what your plant cell does, you're going to know what all the parts of your animal cell can do. Okay? All right, everybody got this? Circular, cell wall, chloroplast, vacuoles, and then any examples of animals there. All right, so once again, we have our nucleus right in the middle. We have our vacuole, smaller, but still there. We have our endoplasmic reticulum right next to the nucleus. The cell membrane surrounding the cell. The Golgi bodies packaging stuff throughout to send throughout the cell. The mitochondria with our little power lines inside. You know the power line, right? And our cytoplasm, all the gooey stuff in between. For animal cell, yeah. We got one more page though. Yeah, next one's real short. Yeah.
I know that it's something about something you take from it. Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
I forgot which one goes for which one.
You get inherit is what you inherit from your parents.
Yeah.
Like when you get it. Good. Think of the word inheritance. When someone dies, you get inheritance if they had money to give, right? Inheritance just means your ancestors. So inherited traits mean you got it from your ancestors. Good. All right. Any questions on animal cells? All right. Last page, guys, for lunch, page 77. Page 77, inherited and acquired traits. Good. This must have been something you guys covered probably at the beginning of the year last year, maybe?
Yeah.
That's good. Good. So first we have inherited traits, guys, and it's spelt right there. Inherited traits. These are traits, all right, that an organism is born with, that you obtained from your parents. So you're born with it, and you obtained it from your parents. Born with it. All right, it is determined by information found in the genes within chromosomes inside the nucleus of the cell. So guys, this is all genetics. All right, your inherited traits come from your genetics. Okay? Good. Something you're not really tested on But a sense strand, guys, is just a segment of DNA that controls a specific trait. The reason why it's important is you're actually able to, scientists and doctors are able to change the genetic makeup of a child while it's still in the womb of the mother. And the way they do that is they locate what specific sense strand controls. Maybe a parent wants their child to be born with a certain hair color. Scientists are able to do that. All they had to do was find the one sense strand, guys, the one sense strand that controls hair color, and they alter it while the baby is still growing inside the womb. It's called genetic manipulation. It's not science fiction anymore, it's a reality. But it's also very expensive. It could be unsafe. So far, not yet, but could be unsafe. All right, next part. It is expensive, yeah. I couldn't tell you exactly. But I imagine any type of genetic manipulation on a human is going to be very expensive. All right, chromosomes. This is where your genetic information is located. You guys have heard of a Y or X chromosome, right? That's the one chromosome that decides if you're a boy or a girl. Everything that makes you a girl or a boy was made up because of one chromosome, a Y or an X chromosome.
Can I change that?
I'd have to look that up. Not sure yet.
So they just cut off your arm.
I don't know, but we'll talk about it. We'll look it up. All right, next. What are some examples of inherited traits? Guys, what is something you inherited from your parent? What'd you say? I heard you say something. Why did you hear you say it? Looks. Your looks. What else?
Your eye color.
Your hair, your eye color. Right? My dad gave me this horrible hair. It's his fault, but I inherited it from him. Okay? My mom gave me my eyes. I like my eyes. My mom gave me those.
But not to her.
Yeah, I got that from my dad.
Mr. What color is your eye?
Hazel, like blue and gray.
Blue and gray. Get out there.
But the point is, guys, we get these from our parents. Okay? Does anybody have a parent who's real tall?
Yes. My mom and dad are tall.
And you're pretty tall. That makes sense. Does anybody have a parent that's really short? And you're kind of short. It's okay. It's okay. Things, as my mom used to say, things only grow till they're perfect, right? Okay. All right, we're almost done, guys. Stay with me. Almost done with me, guys. Let's go. Inherited traits. Who can roll their tongue?
Me.
That's a trait you inherited. Not everybody can roll their tongue. Check your ears. Who has earlobes? Do you have hanging earlobes though? Mine hang down. Can you hit it like a punching bag? That's an inherited trait. Not everybody has that. Not everybody wants that. Right? Good. And then your hair color, guys. Your hair color is a definite sign of where you came from. Good. I like the energy, guys. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. Ladies, gentlemen. Guys, take a deep breath. Ladies, gentlemen. Sir, take a deep breath. Let it out. Stop talking. Relax. I love the energy, but we're almost done. We have to go over our acquired traits now, okay? So keep down just for a little bit longer. Acquired traits. Good. Acquired traits. These are traits you acquired. It means that you got them. Guys, good, like tying a shoe. You learned these things. You had to be taught these things. Or you observed them time and time again. All right? And it started to work. When you're a baby, can your parent tell you how to use the potty? Or do they have to kind of just keep showing you? Works both ways. They're like those potty trainers. Those potty trainers, they're meant to sit right next to the toilet. So the parent can use the restroom, the kid does it too. That's why you can move a potty trainer around. You can observe somebody doing something and learn from it. I'll give you a good example. sometimes you hang out with people that get in trouble. Have you ever found that if you hang out with someone who gets in trouble a lot, every once in a while you get in trouble?
No. No.
So you're acquiring those traits, those skills, those things that they do, you're picking up on them. All right? Reading a book, learning is an acquired trait. Exercising, working out is an acquired trait. We don't all, we're not all buff when we come out of the womb. We're not pumping iron as soon as we pop out of there. No, we're weak, little feeble human beings. We have to exercise and grow and become strong. Got that? Good. Make sure you guys write down some examples of acquired traits, like learning, working, practice. Good. Any questions on acquired or inherited traits? Yes, sir.
Is it stuff that?
Answer that.